Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with my WWE Raw review for this Veterans Day Monday, November 11th, 2013. Now, is it just me, or does every time there's an American holiday, especially like a federal one, WWE's always out of the country? Memorial Day, they're in Canada. And now this day, Veterans Day, they're in England. It's kind of weird to celebrate American holidays out of the country, you know. But despite being a taped War tonight, of course, with the time delay, decent War tonight, including a bunch of UK fans. UK fans always make War great, whether it's in UK. This is why War after WrestleMania is so good, because UK fans are there the day after WrestleMania, and the UK fans, a lot of great chants tonight, and they're very excited about things. And you saw the excitement during the opening segment of War this evening. Decent War tonight, and hopefully some great matches built for Survivor. Seeds planted for possible matches at Survivor Series, which I'll get to throughout this review. Speaking of matches at Survivor Series, we all know Randy Orton will take on the Big Show, the newly rehired Big Show, for the WWE Championship. Now, Big Show was slated not to be in Manchester tonight. Also not slated in Manchester was Triple H and Stephanie, the Authority, taking a little storyline vacation. So Randy Orton came out, talking about Big Show getting the title shot, basically blackmailing Triple H to get this title match, using this as a bait to try to drop this lawsuit and make Big Show come back on one condition with a title shot. And Orton's like, me and the Shield took out the Big Show last week, and I'm gonna take him out again, single-handedly retain my title at Survivor Series. And he of course mentioned the vacationing authority. He said, since I'm the face of the WWE, and I'm the man they love, and made the face of this company, I'm in charge tonight. Then Brad Maddox, even a Maddox Chester sign, a lot of weird signs tonight, including We Want Ryder, and Woo Woo Entertainment. Zack Ryder was on a WWE Shop commercial. I hate the goatee going on, but hey, I got a goatee too. He looks kind of good with the goatee. Zack Ryder does. Nice to see him with that design tonight. Anyway, Maddox came out with a decent pop and saying, listen, old Randy, I'm the authority guy. I'm the general manager of Raw. I think you should have a match right now against Cody Rhodes. Then Kane, of course, the new director of operations, came out saying, no, he should face off against Goldust. And I was like, I predict Vicky Guerrero's going to come out, the general manager of SmackDown. Well, she did. And she got booed out the building. So, each of these three people that are authority figures are cooperatively winning War tonight. And each one of those three big authority figures made handicap matches tonight. Vicky Guerrero decided to solve this Randy Orton against one of the tag team champions situation by fixing it and making it a handicap match. Cody Rhodes and Goldust against Randy Orton. The tag champs against the WWE champ. The first of three handicap matches, like I said, made by one of each of the authority figures. So Vicky's handicap match began War. Orton against Goldust and Cody. And of course, Goldust and Cody, of course, being a team, really had the numbers in their favor. It really took it to Orton early on until, of course, Goldust basically got most of the beating during the majority of matches. Orton really isolated Goldust. He really took care of him, manhandling him throughout the entire match with some killer moves until Cody got the hot tag in. And Goldust and Cody were indeed double teaming on Randy until they double clothesline Randy out of the ring, and Orton ran out to cause a count victory for Cody Rhodes and Goldust after Randy didn't want no piece of Goldust and Cody following the double team. But Orton was not able to escape following the count out. The Big Show was in the house. He was in England. And he was ready to beat up on Orton. Orton had no ways of escaping. So Orton tried to go up the Big Show head on, but Big Show was gaining on revenge. Following the attack last week, beat up on Orton outside the ring, nailing against the steel steps, and doing what Randy Orton did to him last week. Putting Randy Orton through a table. Grabbed the steel steps. And on top of the steel steps, Big Show choke slam Orton through the table with the fans going nuts, saying yes, yes, yes. Applauding Big Show's efforts on choke slamming Orton through the table, sending another big message for their match at Survivor Series. Of course, for the WWE Championship. Now on to the next matchup. A 6-man tag with Santino Muella teaming up with Los Matadores, even wearing bullhorns in honor of El Torito. Taking on the Union Jacks. The Job Squad. 3MB again. I said this 2 weeks ago, and I'll say it again. How many goddamn times does Los Matadors have to beat up on 3MB? It doesn't matter if they're teaming up in a handicap match or in a 6-man tag with Santino. Can you please fucking give Los Matadors new opponents? Please, to God. I did like their outfits tonight, but come on. I did like the Union Jack shit they were wearing, the 3MB were wearing. But come on. Give Los Matadors new opponents. We all know the end result. Los Matadors is going to win. Los Matadors didn't do much wrestling in this matchup. It was El Torito's interaction with Heath Slater causing most of the distraction. And Santino did most of the wrestling during this matchup. Ending up spearing Slater himself with his little bullhorns. With the gore! As Michael Cole would say. I'm surprised Michael Cole didn't say it tonight. Even the freaking Cobra had horns. Of course, that Cobra struck onto Mr. Slater. And Jinder got the Cobra with the horns and 1-2-3 victory for Los Matadors and Santino. Kind of a comedy matchup. But once again, can you please give Los Matadors new opponents? It's like watching, like I said, I gave this comparison 2 weeks ago in my review when I talked about Los Matadors wrestling 3MB every week. It's like what happened with Chavo's feud with Hornswoggle. We saw it every fucking week. We're sick of that as we are sick of Cena winning every week. Anyway, so there you go. Los Matadors, once again, with the help of Santino, once again squashed the hell out of the Union Jacks. 3MB. The Job Squad. Now on to the next matchup. A man who I hope will get another shot against the man I just mentioned, John Cena, for the world title. Of course, referring to Damien Sandow. He took on Kofi Kingston this evening. Of course, Kofi's high-flying maneuvers was trying to get Kofi the advantage. But of course, Sandow with his intellectual smarts was intellectually smart in the UK as he is in America, delivering, of course, all of his big moves, including the elbow to Stain. But despite Kofi's big efforts of trying to come back with some attempts at his big moves, including, of course, maybe almost trying to do a big springboard and trying to do the big 12 in Paradise, and of course the boom drop, which he never got to do, because he got the You're Welcome in a 1-2-3 victory for Damien Sandow. I said in my review last week, and I'll say it again. When it comes to the Battle Del Rio John Cena match at Survivor Series, I hope Sandow gets involved and calls it a disqualification or no contest and teases for a TLC match between these three for the world title at TLC, the pay-per-view, next month. Now, on to the next matchup. Speaking of championships, Intercontinental Championship on the line. Curtis Axel without Heyman again this week. Well, at least for this match, as we would see the return of Paul Heyman a little later on in the evening. Axel would defend his title against Dolph Ziggler. Glad Ziggler got another title shot. And a very decent matchup between these guys. Like I said, it was kind of back and forth action. There was a couple killer spots in this. I love the move that Ziggler did off the top rope, like a backwards little face plant thing, like an execution move off the top rope. It was a nice, decent move there. That was a killer spot. And both guys were putting on a decent matchup. And fans were chanting throughout the evening. The UK fans. I love they chanted a lot of things during Randy Orton's match and chanting everybody's names like JBL and all that during Orton's match. And this match was basically pro Ziggler because a lot of Ziggler fans wanted to get him pushed again. I'm glad Ziggler got a little push tonight with being put in this IC Championship matchup. And he had a great performance tonight. He looked very good against Axel tonight, but Axel came back with all of his big elbow moves and all of his decent moves. And, of course, Ziggler did try, at least. He did nail the famous at one point. And he was trying to go for the zigzag move. But then, the Hangman's facebuster countering the zigzag from Axel got him the victory. And retaining the Intercontinental Championship. A decent matchup. It's a very long matchup. Very action-packed matchup. Axel looked great in here, but I love Ziggler's performance. I hope Ziggler gets a rematch against Mr. Axel. Maybe at Survivor Series. Maybe the pregame. I shouldn't say that, but hey, Ziggler's been a pregame a lot. Sandow's been pregame a lot too, so I think Ziggler could get a shot against Axel at the pay-per-view. That's what I'm guessing. There's a decent matchup. Let's see Ziggler back, at least going for a title, which was Wood title, but still, let's see Ziggler going for another title after being demoted for a few months. In a decent effort against Axel. Now, over the residential bathroom break. Divas match time. Tamina taking on Nikki Bella. And of course, AJ Lee and Brie Bella at ringside in the respective corners of Nikki and Tamina respectfully. Typical Divas match. Nikki tried to do a little cat fighting on Tamina. But of course, should have guessed AJ would get involved, and so would Brie Bella. Tamina took down Brie, taking her out of it. Of course, some various distractions, especially AJ taking out Brie, which set up Tamina going for big boots onto Brie's sister Nikki near towards the end, setting up the big finish, Superfly Splash, 1, 2, 3 victory for Miss Tamina Snuka, with a little help from her friend AJ Lee. So, typical sloppy little short Divas match. Let's move on to the next match. I like Manchester crowds. Now, I knew Manchester was going to go crazy for a lot of people, especially Scalamoose, Manchester, doing the Fandango. Yes, Fandango. And of course, Summer Rae in his corner took on another superstar's daughter. We saw Tamina, Jimmy Snuka's daughter. Then we saw Neidhart's daughter, Natalya in the corner of her husband, Tyson Kidd, who defeated Fandango last week in a mixed tag match in his return. Nice to see him back. And he had an okay effort against Fandango. Fandango with his fancy dance moves and his fancy moves in the ring as well as his fancy dance moves. Got the advantage earlier with some decent okay moves on Kidd. An okay matchup until Tyson Kidd came flying back with some big nasty kicks and hurricane runners galore. And of course, both Summer Rae and Natalya were a piece of each other. Too bad they have a cat fight in this matchup. But of course, decent okay matchup. Fandango trying to go for a big move. Until, of course, Tyson Kidd whammed him against the barricade with another Hurricane Rana. And then, after that, he was setting up for a little sunset flip move. A little springboard on Fandango. Fandango counted it into a sunset flip. Holding on with a 1, 2, 3 victory for Fandango. Getting the win over Tyson Kidd. I think Natalya was trying to get the crowd going. Trying to get to chant Tyson. But I think that distraction kind of helped Tyson lose the match. Because Tyson, trying for that springboard move, got countered by Fandango, turning into a flip and into 1, 2, 3 victory for Fandango. So, there you go with that. Saying Fandango win. There goes the fans dancing the night away. Fandangoing the night away in Manchester. Now, on our next matchup, the second of 2 of the 3 handicap matches. Like I mentioned, each of the 3 big authority figures, Vicky, Kane, and Maddox, made handicap matches. Vicky made the match between Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust. And now, Brad Maddox made his next handicap match. John Cena in a handicap match against the Real Americans. Called his 2 favorite friends, Jack Swagger, and Antonio Cesaro. These 3 guys have had their problems on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Raw last week in a 6-man tag. And finally, the Boo Buns are back. I haven't heard any boos for John Cena in fucking forever, man. Been hearing a lot of cheers. Finally, boos for John Cena. Thank you, UK fans, for finally booing the hell out of Cena like he deserves it. Speaking of UK fans, I saw a UK fan dress up like John Cena. I mean, Superman. John Cena's Superman. Same person. Super Cena. Super Cena! Anyway! Cesaro and Swagger looked very good. I've always applauded these 2 guys. Despite being in the UK, they still had people chanting "We the People," especially since Zepp Coulter made fun of the crowd in the country. So, anyway, like I said, Cena tried to outweigh the numbers, of course, 2-on-1. And like I said, Swagger and Cesaro did very well. And I thought at least a couple times Cesaro did try to Cesaro swing at one point, and Swagger did have the Patriot lock on, but it was Cena's own submissions that got the best of these teams. I think it took Cena 2 attempts at the SCFU, couple attempts at the AAFU, and of course at least 2 times to connect the Five Knuckle Shuffle. But they were focusing, of course, on that injured arm that Cena injured back at SummerSlam. They got injured on. It took 2 months to come back, get Sin Cara still out with a broken thumb. Joke on Facebook. Anyway, despite Cesaro and Swagger really delivering on Cena, I think Swagger even did 3 Swagger bombs. I think he went for 3. He got 2 out of 3. Like Milo always said, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But indeed, despite Swagger and Cesaro's best efforts delivering their big moves on Cena, including Cesaro, like I said, trying to Cesaro swing and failed, trying for a neutralizer, and eventually got some great uppercuts in on Cena, and of course Super Cena that prevailed, getting the FU on Swagger, locking in the FU, following that the STFU, and then indeed, Mr. Swagger got the tap out. But following that victory from Cena, Cesaro came in to break up the SCFU following Cena's victory, headbutting Cena to hell, until Cena took both Swagger and Cesaro out. And then Abel Del Rio, who distracted Cena earlier, I forgot to mention that, Del Rio came out during the matchup. Of course, Del Rio facing Cena for the SummerSlam. So, Del Rio came out midway towards the beginning of the matchup. He was on commentary for the matchup. And following the post-match attack from Cesaro and Swagger and Cena countering that, Del Rio came in with a chair, nailing Cena with it, and then putting a steel chair around the injured arm of Cena, weakening that to get the cross arm breaker with the steel chair connected to Cena's arm. With that cross arm breaker locked in, the chair on Cena's arm, referees tried to break it up, but one man did break up that hold. Big E Langston, who looked very good against Orton last week, came out to beat up Del Rio to break the hold, which led to our next impromptu matchup, Alberto Del Rio against Big E Langston. Now, it's weird to see Del Rio. It was weird to see when he was a face. Weird to see him as a heel again. But we would see that match later on. There will be a match later on. But first, before we would get to Alberto Del Rio and I'll say it anyway. I'll just review that match because before that match was Ryback Goldberg against R-Truth. I'll do that match first before I get to Biggie Langston and Del Rio. Ryback, of course, without Heyman as well. And, well, Heyman would kind of dump him during his promo when Heyman came back. Like I mentioned, Heyman came back. Anyway, Ryback did try to feed him more, and I thought Ryback was going to win this thing because I thought it would be an easy squash for Ryback. And really, Ryback did handle R-Truth for most of the match. He really manhandled him like he always does. The stiff hits and the stiff slams, you know, and really beating up on R-Truth, the big bully that he is. Despite R-Truth's best effort for offense, of course, the big, strong offense of Ryback at the best of them. But the strong moves cost him in the end, though. As Ryback was setting up for a meat hook, R-Truth dunked it, rolled up Ryback in a 1-2-3 victory for R-Truth, getting a surprise victory over Ryback, dunking the meat hook and getting the roll up for the victory. Nice to see R-Truth win a match for once, but still, I like R-Truth as a heel too. But people like him as a face. I'm glad at least R-Truth got a victory, but maybe his only victory for a while. Because I thought Ryback was going to win, but Ryback's squashing a lot lately. He's losing a lot, so that's too surprised. But anyway, all of the match I mentioned earlier that stemmed from the ending of the Cena Swagger Cesaro handicap match, Del Rio against Big E Langston. Like I mentioned, Big E Langston. We don't see Big E as a face, but I think the fans are finally accepting him as a face. And like the match against Orton, Big E looked very good against Del Rio despite the fans' disinterest in the match, even chanting a lot as they did throughout the evening. Even doing the wave tonight during this matchup specifically. Despite Big E's big strength, of course the big man boobies and all, man tits and all, Del Rio's fast moves would get the best of Big E with the big fast moves, the big nasty kicks. But indeed, Del Rio was indeed not too fast to avoid any further physical assault from Langston, Like I said, Langston was very good with some big moves, a suplex, some big kicks of his own, even trying to nail Del Rio with the big ending. With the straps down, he was going for the big ending until Del Rio countered it with his own finisher, cross-arm breaker. Despite Big E's best efforts to get out of it, Big E was a tapping. So, Bruno Del Rio delivering another big message to Cena with the win over Big E Langston. Of course, vowing to win back the World Heavyweight Championship in Boston at Survivor Series, of course, Cena's hometown. Will Cena will probably get booed. Because he's been getting booed a lot in Boston. But he's not getting booed a lot lately until tonight. Getting booed heavily in UK. Finally. First boos I heard since Cena came back. Anyway, I kept mentioning it throughout the evening. We would see Paul Heyman return tonight. Because we saw Paul Heyman on the phone last week saying he's been getting treatment in Europe. So I kind of had a sneaky suspicion Heyman would come back tonight. I thought he was going to get involved in the Axel Ziggler match. He never did. But he did come back during this segment before the main event. It's all about, being injured for so long. And like I said, he officially dumped Ryback, saying that I blame Ryback for what Punk did to me. Because Ryback lost to Punk. Because Ryback always says, feed me more. Well, I think Ryback bit more than he could chew when he lost to Punk at Hell in a Cell, which landed me in the hospital after Punk slammed me on the top of the cell with the GTS and nailed me with the kendo stick. And his Heyman was like, I'm back for revenge. Here comes Punk's music. And Axel, who was accompanying Heyman, came out to meet Punk. The Duke in front of each other in front of the ring area. But of course, Axel got the short end of the beating as Punk and him outside the ring, setting up the GTS on the floor, which set up an opportunity for Punk to once again beat up on Heyman, a prone Heyman. With him dumping Ryback and Axel out of the picture momentarily with this attack from Punk leading to the GTS, Heyman was prone and all alone. So Punk tossed him off the chair, grabbed the kendo stick again and started ripping the hell out of Heyman with the kendo stick when the crowd was responding heavily. Yes, yes, yes. Laying out Heyman to set up for his tag handicap match with his partner Daniel Bryan against the Shield. Now, Michael Cole said something about this is the first time Daniel Bryan and CM Punk have teamed up together. He's right and wrong on that. I think he's right on one thing. I think this is the first time that Punk and Bryan have teamed up against the Shield. But if it comes to this being the first time teaming up together for any match, this ain't the first time. They teamed up for a match with Zack Ryder for that Raw after TLC when Daniel Bryan cashed in Money in the Bank on the World Championship and when Ryder was still the U.S. champion in that match with those two and Punk teaming up in a 6-person tag. I think it was against Del Rio, Swagger, and I forgot their third man. In that 6-man tag when Punk and Bryan teamed up together. So this ain't the first time they teamed up, period, but it's the first time against the Shield. Of course, they had the Wyatts undermined, but as we would see during this matchup, well, there we go. Punk and Bryan with the big flashy moves, and of course the big crowd response. I knew the crowd was going to go nuts for these two as well as they ran out for Fandango. Bryan and Punk really took care of the Shield early on in the matchup with the killer nasty fast moves until Roman Reigns got the hot tag in, really bringing the strength and the power back to the Shield in their favor. With Roman Reigns leading the comeback brigade, of course the Shield doing what they do best, getting the isolation game all over both Punk and Bryan at one point during the matchup or another. Both Punk and Bryan, like I said, were both isolated at one point during the match against the Shield. But despite Shield's best efforts to get the match all to themselves, Punk and Bryan would not quit, going for fast moves, the big nasty kicks, the big fly moves. And of course, both indeed taking control of the matchup. Of course, Punk going for some GTS moves till countered, of course. Ambrose broke up that. And Punk did try the Anaconda Vice at one point on Ambrose. Of course, I think Rollins and Ambrose got most of the beating. But of course, Reigns did all the beating for the Shield. It was a decent 6-man, 3-on-2 handicap match, a decent matchup. The ending was, there was a no contest battle. I did like the ending at least planting a seed for a possible match at Survivor Series. So, because I thought this 3-on-2 handicap match hopefully would not be what it's going to be at Survivor Series with the Wyatts against Punk and Bryan in a 3-on-2 handicap match. Well, from what we saw at the ending, I hope that's not the case. So as Punk and Bryan were taking full control and really getting close to defeating the Shield after Punk attempted the Anaconda Vice, or at least trying to put the Anaconda Vice on Ambrose, the lights went out, and here comes the Wyatts. Harper and Rowan were in the ring, ready to beat up on Punk and Bryan, and then the Shield got in the ring to prevent the Wyatts from attacking Punk and Bryan. Because the Shield wanted Punk and Bryan. So with Ambrose and Bray outside the ring, Rollins and Reigns and Harper and Rowan looked like they were going to fight at one point. To the crowd's response, they wanted to fight, and they did. So we saw the Shield and the Wyatts getting it over each other, with all three members of each team really delivering on each other, really pounding on each other with a crowd response to hell. But then Bray became the voice of reason to both Wyatts and the Shield, because there have been rumors for months that Wyatts and Shield would be coexisting with each other, but it looked like they weren't coexisting because they were beating up on each other. Until, like I said, Bray became the voice of reason, saying, "We got a common enemy." So indeed, the Wyatts and the Shield came together for a 6-on-2 assault on Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. So as the 6 men of the Shield and the Wyatts were beating up on Punk and Bryan, here comes their rescue brigade, the Usos, and Cody Rhodes and Goldust coming to the rescue to make it even 6-on-6. And the Wyatts and the Shield will be cleared out of the ring as Goldust, Cody, Usos, and Bryan Punk would stand victoriously as we end Raw. Now, I said it last week that I hoped for not a 3-on-2 handicap match between the Wyatts and Daniel Bryan and Punk at Survivor Series. I hoped for a 4-on-4 traditional Survivor Series match. Now I say my prediction is we're going to have a 12-man Survivor Series matchup, 6-on-6. Cody Rhodes and Goldust, Punk and Daniel Bryan, and the Usos take on the Shield and the Wyatts. All 6 respective members. Ambrose, Rollins, and Reigns, and Bray Wyatt, Harper, and Rowan. I thought my first prediction was going to be 8-man tag, Harper and Rowan teaming up with Rollins and Reigns against Cody Rhodes and Goldust and Punk and Bryan. But now we get the Usos added. I say a 6-man, a 12-man tag at Survivor Series. So that seed planted tonight from that ending, with the Usos and Cody Rhodes and Goldust saving Punk and Bryan from a 6-on-2 beating from the Shield and the Wyatts, making it even. So that's my prediction. 6-on-6, 12-man matchup over to the traditional Survivor Series 6-on-6 matchup with the Shield and the Wyatts against Bryan, Cody, Punk, Goldust, and the Usos. That's what I'm hoping for now, because of this ending. So there you go. That is my Raw review this evening. And I will leave you with one little comment. Forgot to mention this during the All-Truth matchup. During the All-Truth matchup, JBL made a reference about 2 Live Crew. About him and All-Truth being like a black and white team. Well, 2 Live Crew, I think, was the name of a faction that All-Truth was in TNA with Road Dogg Jesse James. So it's kind of weird to hear JBL mention the 2 Live Crew, or I think there was like an alteration of that name that All-Truth used for a faction with Road Dogg and TNA. Nice weird reference to hear from a WWE podcast, JBL. So there you go. That is it for my Raw review this evening. I will see you all later with that in mind. You've all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you all very much for watching. Have a great rest of your Veterans Day. And thank you, veterans out there, for what you do. And for those who are currently serving, salute to you. Yes, yes, yes.